Hello and welcome to this edition of the Podium, which is coming to you live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Asmiwa. Coming up into this edition of the program, the Anti-Corruption Commission indicts former Vice President Victor Bokarifo and former Mines Minister Alhaji Kailu Mansari on the 2018 Hajj. Well, we shall get more on that from the ACC. The government set up a new Hajj committee for the 2018 Hajj. The Civil Society Consortium on Service Delivery reacts to the Governance Transition Report, and World Vision International Sierra Leone, as part of the global partnership, is launching a 5-year campaign titled "It Takes a World to End Violence Against Children." All these and more, including your text messages, which you can send to 088373 504. The number again is 088373 504. It's Podium. Send your messages to 088373 Well, a long-awaited governance transition report was finally presented to President Bio on Wednesday. Well, the report, among other things, claimed that there was rampant corruption and also high level of fiscal indiscipline by the former APC government of President Kurma. Well, the governance transition team was set up with the mandate, among others, to take stock of the affairs of the outgoing government. Well, one organization that has been calling for the release of the report is the Consortium of Civil Society on Service Delivery. Moses Mambu is a member of the consortium. Welcome to the program, Moses.
Thank you very much.
And finally, the report is out. Are you okay with that now?
Yes, we are more than okay, and I know the people of Sierra Leone are okay, because what we are pushing for is effective service delivery within our democratic structure. Since 1961 to date, if you remember, Sierra Leone have been going backward instead of going forward. Before this time, we used to have countries like Ghana, Nigeria coming here to make use of some of our resources in terms of education, in terms of our market. But over time, all that have faded away just because corruption have been at the highest level, you understand, within our society over time. So all civil society came together in 2015 and said we need to start holding our government accountable to the people to ensure that we continue to have transparent governance and accountable governance, because it is the people. A vote of a common man on the market is equal to the vote of a professor. So you must respect the aspirations and the wishes of the people. So as a result of that, when this government came in, remember this one was done in 2007. Remember the issue of the Sababu project. They set up a commission of inquiry in 2007. At the end of the day, the report was not published. And civil society, we shouted and shouted and shouted.
Why do you think the former government did not publish, did not make known what its findings were?
Well, there is a saying, because that is where the West, even the West, do not respect us as Africans. There is a saying that it's a syndicate. Whatever you do to me, when I come, I will do the same. So I think opinion poll will tell you that they were thinking that, okay, one day we'll leave office. But for a government to come now and do a transition team, and all civil society launch an advocacy that report must be published, and it has been published, it's a step. This has never happened.
Have you perused the reports?
As I speak to you now, we have a network of about 2,000 community structures across the country. And we have a mobile network system which our partners help us to build over a period of time. So electronically, we have sent out all of the recommendations and some of the
glanced through?
Yes, I have glanced through, and we have sent.
And what's your opinion about some of the things that the committee revealed, some of the things that they found?
My opinion is, when you are given the mantle of leadership to run a country, you are not given that mandate to run the country for your family. You are not given that mandate to run the country for your pocket. You are given the mandate to change the suffering masses. The student that goes to university pay 3.7 million and they stand up for lectures. The person that goes to buy cookie, that used to buy it 1,000, now buying it 10,000. The people that goes to Abacha to sell just to meet their daily bread. Those are what you are given powers to change the condition of life. The 75% of youth who doesn't have employment, those are the people. So if you take a mantle of leadership for 10 years, and at the end of the day, your stock is taken and reveal that we have been faced with one of the worst economic challenges in our lifetime. I think for me that is unacceptable, and I think majority of Sierra Leoneans will resonate with us.
So you agree with all the findings that the committee were able to discover, right?
They are not new. That is why when people are saying witch hunt, all civil society are bashing on that. Because when they say witch hunt is when
are not new. What do you mean?
Yeah, most of the findings in the report are not new. Even within the former regime, these are things we have been crying for. All right. When you say which one is when I catapult a story against you just to tarnish your image. For example, the Nasit Ferry. The Nasit Ferry is something we have been saying that there are corruption in it. The Nasit Ferry, you understand, the Hajj Gate. These are things, the Ebola funds. These are things we have been crying about. The sale of Sarah Wutai. These are things we have been crying about even in the former regime. So those are the same things these reports have revealed. You understand? So there's nothing like witch hunt. There are nothing there that is new. That the heirs of Sierra Leoneans have not heard about. So that is why, as I speak to you now, we have received more than 1 million comments on that report across the board regarding what should be our position. I will be coming up very shortly with a national press conference and international press conference to ensure that we take a position as civil society, because the report, even this particular government, we are known of us, we know our government that they are very good in preparing beautiful documents. But taking action is always a challenge in our country.
He is Moses Mambu, a member of the Civil Society Consortium on Service Delivery. The program is Podium, coming to you from Fitch. Well, let's go to another issue that has close links with the just concluded report. Well, you will know that Hajj is one of the pillars of Islam, and every Muslim who has the opportunity is enjoined to perform Hajj at least once in his lifetime. Well, many times Sierra Leonean pilgrims find it difficult to go perform Hajj. The reason why, around 2007, the former government formed what was called a Hajj committee, because before that, pilgrims were at the mercy of Hajj agents. Well, even the last committee did not go without blemish. As you could recall, the 2017 Hajj was described as one of the worst for Sierra Leoneans. Many of the intended pilgrims were dumped at the Lungi International Airport. Some paid but did not go. There are so many issues. As you also know, that the former Vice President and the former Mines Minister are now answering to questions by the ACC as a result of issues that emanated from that Hajj. Well, the current government has established a new Hajj committee wherein Islamic scholars and other people are part of the new committee. Well, today we are talking to Sheikh Daifan Masakwe. He is the head of outreach of the current Hajj committee. Welcome to the program, sir, Sheikh Daifan.
Yeah.
What difference are we going to see with this new Hajj committee?
Well, the committee stands very strongly to ensure that we have to look into all the lapses, and we use our experiences with all the other stakeholders in the committee to ensure that this year we are going to have very perfect performance.
Have you learned from the mistakes of the past committees?
Yes, of course.
The one that was around before 2007 and
yes,
the one that has been around from 2007 to 2017?
Yes. To be precise, on 21st June, the committee was called by anti-corruption when they were releasing the report of the just concluded investigation on Hajj specifically. In that report, on page 5, subsection 3, I quote, "During the course of our investigation, it was discovered that there were no strong systems and processes to guide the Hajj process," unquote. So the report entails recommendations out of the findings they had, and before even we got to that place, we have been doing a lot of work consistent, with their findings and recommendations.
So what's the composition of this current committee?
Well, the composition in the first place, there are 15 people, membership is across the nation. The committee gave account of the tribal line, the regional line, and all levels of dimensions.
Did the past committee fail in that direction in terms of regional and tribal representation?
Well, I'm not bothered about the past regime. What I'm really bothered about now is the composition of this committee. So we now have.
So what's the credibility of you, the members of this current committee?
Well, the credibility is that these people are pulled from different backgrounds. Is it both as from state actors as well as personified people, dignified people within the community, and the head of that committee is Alhaji Murtada Sisi. The co-chairperson is Honorable Ahmed Kela, who is the Deputy Minister of Ministry of Social Welfare, and of course, the public will like to know the structure because, as I have just noted from the report given by Anti-Corruption, they said there were weak systems and processes. So this committee has underscored that relevantly to ensure that there are going to be very efficient and effective systems, and to ensure that we have set up subcommittees so that they will be able to take care of specific areas of needs. We have pre-heart committee. That committee has just come from Saudi Arabia to undertake the necessary arrangements with regards accommodation, flight, food, and even rituals. They have returned, with a very perfect report. And also we have an outreach committee. We have gone around this country, visited all the regional headquarters, including Kono, and we have already consulted with stakeholders in each of these visits. And we have the food and accommodation committee. We have luggage committee. So we have set up committees because while we are outside there, to the provinces, we realize from the people that there were a lot of lapses with regards to welfare. Okay. So we have noted this very well.
Okay. Well, he is Sheikh Daifan Masakwe, head of outreach of the Hajj Committee. The program is Podium, coming to you from Futa. World Vision International Sierra Leone, as part of the global partnership, is launching a 5-year campaign dubbed as It Takes a World to End Violence Against Children. Sierra Leone's theme is under this global campaign is End Child Sexual Violence in Sierra Leone. It takes us all. Well, the campaign seeks to complement government's effort to end sexual violence against children in Sierra Leone by 2023 under the National Strategic Framework on Ending Sexual Violence Against Children 2018-2022. And in the studio is Edward Rena, who is the communications person for World Vision. Welcome to the program, Edward.
Thank you very much, Asmi, and thank you for having me.
Okay, now let us look at the local theme. How can we tie that with the prevailing environment that is happening now, especially when you look at sexual violence against children? Hardly a week passes by without you hearing on the radio or seeing on television news that has to do with girls being sexually abused. It seems as if our environment is becoming hostile for girls.
Well, I think let me just lay the foundation to all of this. World Vision International noticed that around the world about 1 billion children are suffering from all forms of violence, and they say we cannot sit back. We are a child-friendly organization, though we are a Christian organization that partners with other religions and other people. We should not sit back and see our future goes down the drain. In other words, the children are our future. If we don't have people who will replicate what we've been doing when we are gone, then it means nothing for the world. So they now decide that let's have a campaign, and let's theme this campaign, It Takes Us All to End All Forms of Violence Against Children. So at the global level in March 2017, they launched the campaign, and World Vision International got subsidiaries or have got offices in the other parts of the world, in other regions, in Africa. For instance, Sierra Leone is under the West African Hub. They ask that each office provide a theme looking at what is prevalent in their own country. For instance, Ghana, they've launched theirs, and theirs was It Takes Us All to Stop Early Child Marriage in Ghana. And the campaign seems to be running successfully because it's almost a year now since they launched theirs. And we looked at what was the most prevalent issue in Sierra Leone in all the areas where we work. World Vision Sierra Leone is working and supporting over 750,000 children in Sierra Leone, yes, and communities and people. So we looked at all of those communities. We have what we call APs, area clusters, where we have staffs. We went down there, we did a survey, and we noticed that even from UNICEF and other partner organizations, child sexual violence is what is on the increase. then we say to ourselves, how can we tackle this?
Before you tackle it, do you know the root causes for that? The reason why we have the prevalence of these acts?
Yes, we were able to find out. It's because many a times, even in the family where most times it occurs, we do not see it as a crime. We do not see it as something that is going on. And mark you...
But it is a crime. It is against the laws of Sierra Leone.
It is, but most of the time you hear the uncle or the aunt says, let's save this inside. In Korean we say, yes, no, na inside stock. And this is what we want to stop, this issue of na inside stock. It should be something that should come out. It should be something that we need to take action against, and that's why we came up with this campaign. And we find it very good that His Excellency has not minced his word about supporting youths and children, but his wife has consented to serve as the guest speaker on the launch, which is on Monday. And she will be speaking around the theme, which is end sexual violence. Now, what do we refer to as violence at World Vision International? We do not just look at sex, we do not just look at fighting or the beating or corporal punishment. We look at many other things. Stopping the child from attaining the fullness of life is also a form of violence. Abusing a child is also a form of violence. Many a times we in our various communities, we literally say, but you know go better. That child takes that thing and it continues to ring, and when he makes mistake in school, he thinks about, daddy have said that or mommy have said that some time ago, so this is why this is happening to me. And all of those are the issues we want to tackle, but we cannot tackle it alone. We cannot tackle it alone. Because we cannot tackle it alone, we ensure that we are going to partner with other organizations.
Okay, thank you very much, Edward. We're going to continue to be with us. The program is a Podium, coming to you from Kutu. The Human Rights Audit report on the concluded 2018 elections placed human rights violations and abuse under 4 categories. Well, this includes unlawful killings, injuries, intimidation, and destruction of property during the 2018 electoral cycle. According to the report by the Human Rights Advancement, Development and Advocacy Center and the Human Rights Defenders Network, there were 5 different cases of attacks and assault leading to injury. Someone is here to tell us more about their findings. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Okay, you were here a few days ago. Let's keep the debate. What has been the action so far of some of the institutions that have been named in your report?
Well, I think we have engaged some of the institutions. Unfortunately, some of those institutions have been dissolved, like the National Media Commission. We are planning to engage them. We are speaking to the police this afternoon.
There is a board that has been dissolved. The commission itself exists.
Yeah, but they're presently in McKinney trying to round up their 2017 report. So, but we are meeting with the police because in our report, we look at key institutions. And the police is one of those key institutions. And in our recommendation, we have called for the prosecution of all cases of human rights abuses and violation as per our findings.
Those where the police were the principal suspects?
Well, the police actually contributed minimally to the political violence. Less than 6%.
How did you come to that conclusion? Because even on elections day, for instance, take for instance the former flag bearer who is now president, is the place where they had the Atali Center also was quote unquote invaded by the police. Yeah. And also after the election, when the results were announced, you saw what happened in Kenema. There was a running battle between citizens and the police. And the now ruling, which was then an opposition party, did complain the police that the police was biased, was unfair.
Well, I think in our report, if people should endeavor to read the chapter on the police, we need to understand certain things. One, this is a police that has been misused a lot by the politician. A police that has been demeaned by the military, castigated by the people. But there is a significant importance of the police. It's one institution where we have no alternative. And we all need to work together to make sure the police give us the service that we need. Now, if we look at the police, one, it pains us to see the video of policemen being beaten in Kenema. You take your mind back to 2 decades ago, or 3, where it's a thing of pride to be a policeman. And people look at you. We need to get our police back to that situation.
Is it not the way the police are carrying themselves?
Of course. Part of the recommendation of our report is very clear. We did a whole review
Because if you want
of
to,
the system
if
of
you
the
want to
police.
enjoy the confidence of the populace you are serving, then you also need to be seen as an apolitical and unbiased institution.
Perfectly. That is why we actually suggested to the police 6 core principles they need to adopt in securing the elections. And one of that is credibility, is getting the confidence of the people. But we need to make sure that engaging the police from now is important. We don't need to wait for this 6 months before the election. But it's also very difficult not to agree with you when you have instances, incident reported cases where police uses APC branded vehicle to arrest SLPP supporter. Or a case whereby people alleged to be APC thugs being driven in a vehicle by a policeman. So these are cases that we want the police to investigate in part of their own staff. But apart from that, we have a lot of cases whereby alleged perpetrators were named. Okay, either by nicknames, either by their real name, and we have cases whereby some of the cases were reported to the police, and there have been no development in terms of how the cases are going. For example, it is sad to know that the journalist, Ibrahim Samoa, there is no development on his case. Especially, I asked myself, what is the police waiting for? Because in the letter APC wrote to Sludge, they actually named those who did this to him. So this is a lot of things that we, civil society and the public, needs to engage the police to give us the service that we need.
But here in here, every election, these things are not new. Every time and again, from 2007, the same accusations that were made against the police were the same accusations that were made in 2012 and 2018. And they keep coming up every election. So you ask yourself whether a report like this are making any significance.
Exactly, this is one of the recommendations we have made to the civil society, to say you don't go to bed after the result, because we are seeing casualties of elections as casualties of war. Elections are not war. People have not joined a political party to sign up their rights to live, or to sign up that they can be injured, or to sign up that my property can be destroyed. Political parties members are not soldiers. So, and all these electoral offenses are not just electoral offenses, they are crime.
So which other institution is named in your report also?
Well, we look at the judiciary, and we look in terms of the impasse that happened, either in terms of the dual citizenship and in terms of the injunction and the court order. And we strongly believe that more work needs to be done with the judiciary to understand what their role is.
So have you had an interface with the judiciary?
We are going to be meeting with them also. We just won the report yesterday. So we are going to be meeting with the judiciary, and we are going to be engaging them. But in the report, we have actually stated clearly what the international standard is for the judiciary around the election.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being with us. The program is a Podium coming to you from Freetown. We are going for a short break. After the break, the program continues. in your messages which you can send to 0883735574. Program needs support. Every day, Podium brings to you issues that you will not see on other channels. Rely on Podium for the latest news. Well, we are back with the program Podium, which is coming to you live from Freetown with me, Asmiba. Well, yesterday, the Anti-Corruption Commission finally unsealed the indictments on the ongoing Hajj investigation. Well, two prominent names were involved. We are named the former Vice President Victor Bokaifo and former Minister of Mines Alhaji Minkailu Mansari. Well, on 4-count charge of conspiracy to commit corruption and misappropriation of funds that were meant for the 2018 Hajj program were among the counts that were read by the ACC. Well, the Anti-Corruption Commission is on the process of reviewing the Hajj Gate investigations and the opening of investigations into the Ebola funds, the sales of shares at the Sierra Hotel, and the 2015-2016 Auditor General's reports. Well, these are the issues. Well, let me welcome Patrick Sandy, Deputy Director Public Education and Outreach of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Tell us more about the two prominent indictments, that's of the former Vice President and the former Minister of Mines.
Well, just to make clarification, at the moment, the former Minister of Mines has not been indicted.
Okay.
He was just called in yesterday and interviewed and then arrested and released on bail. But with regards to those that have been indicted relating to the Hajj case,
including the Vice President?
Definitely. The Vice President, he's already, yes, he's an indictee.
Okay.
But it's a question of when you are putting the two together.
Okay.
That's why I want to make the distinction.
So Minkailu was only invited?
Invited, yes, for questioning in relation to the Hajj, as you just introduced, because the Commissioner has decided to review the investigations.
Alhaji Minkailu Mansari's name was not in the first sealed indictment.
It's certainly
the one
not.
That was sealed by the former SEC.
Well, there is no first and second seal. The one that was sealed is what it has been unsealed, and his name is not there.
But it was on social media, and the name of Minkailu was not in it.
That's what I'm saying. So his name has never been in whatever sealed or unsealed. But what we unsealed is what has been sealed, and his name is not there.
And okay, land.
But yes, let me just tell you the names or the public of those that have been indicted as of now relating to the sealed indictments that the Anti-Corruption Commission took to court. One is the former Vice President, and the other is Sheikh Sahid Kamara and then Abubakar Kiro. The former Vice President we all know, and Sheikh Sahid Kamara was also served as Secretary General to the Hajj Committee, Coordinating Committee, and was also Special Assistant on Social Welfare, matters in the Office of the President. And Abubakar Kiro was a former Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social Welfare and Children's Affairs. So we have 4-count charges. And
what are these charges? Let's start with the Vice President first.
Yes, well, the Vice President and Sahid Sheikh Kamara are charged on 2 counts, one of conspiracy to commit a corruption offense and another on misappropriation of public funds amounting to 80,000 United States dollars, all relating, of course, to Hajj program. And further, for Sahid Kamara, he is further charged for misappropriation of public funds amounting to about 300 million, and also charged again together with Abu Bakr Kiro for failure to follow laid down procedures in procurement for the withdrawal of funds in the tune of 431,000 United States dollars, all appertaining to the Hajj 2017 program. So in essence, what I'm saying is that the former Vice President is charged on 2 counts of one conspiracy and the other misappropriation of public funds, whilst Sheikh Sahid Kamara is charged on 4 counts. One 2 on misappropriation of public funds, 1 on conspiracy, and the other failure to follow lay-down procedures, procurement procedures. And Abubakar Kiru charged on 1 count of failure to follow lay-down procedures in the procurement.
And the current ACC Commissioner, Francis Ben Kaifala, said he is going to review the investigations on this. Is it that he is not satisfied with what his predecessor did, or is he smelling some foul play or what?
Well, he just believes that is part of the process of investigations. Yes, I would say he could not be quite satisfied with the outcome of the current indictments. He believes that he needs to review, and in the course of the review that he even called in the former Minister of Mines yesterday to be part of the process of the investigations. And they will to be arraigned on the 30th of July.
Yeah,
and
it's actually a long time, almost a month.
That's set by the judiciary. It's not in our remit. But nonetheless, the commissioner is of the view
is
that...
Is it deliberate to reduce the public tension, public attention on it?
I cannot respond to that. But the fact of the matter is, as I'm saying, it's squarely in the remit of the judiciary. But that notwithstanding, the fact is that at this moment, on to the 30th of July, the Anti-Corruption Commission has the opportunity to review and then see
and make fresh indictments,
additional offenses, or to this one, if you like, and then additional names as well, or you make reductions, if you like.
Okay.
But the view is to really review and see that a lot more is put into the whole.
I mean, there is a
and
school of thought. Some people say that the
indictments.
ACC wants to protect certain people. That's why the issue of review is now coming up.
Well, I do not go with those views. The people have rights to those views, but that is not the position of the Commission. The Commission's position is that this entire hard investigations has to be very thorough.
Why did it take the ACC almost 1 year? Because this incident happened August 2007, around September 2017. And now it's July. It's almost 1 year.
Yeah, the point is,
and this is a public interest matter.
No, it's a public interest, I agree, and quite a lot of investigations we conduct are public interest matters. But the point we have to note at this point is that investigation is a process, and investigations vary depending on their scope. You have investigations that are large scale, which will demand you to talk to so many people. You have to get records, you have to get documents, and that will take you time.
So do you find it difficult to talk to intended pilgrims who did not make it?
No, not quite. But it's a question of what resources we have in-house by way of our investigators,
so
talking to much more people. In terms of staffing, we are constrained. But the fact remains is we have been able to get to this point with the resources we have, and I want to believe that we should be commended. Nonetheless, the public always expects the ACC to run very fast with investigations, and that's not what we do. We always want to do the right thing and get to the point where we are satisfied, and then we can prefer charges.
Yesterday.
He was together with Minkailo. Well, I am not.
What's the worth of the bail?
No, well, the worth of the bail is in the region of 2 billion.
Okay.
Yes, that was what was given. But of course, we know bail is a condition, and you have to come with shorties and other title deeds that will be in for any other.
So has the ACC, have you had enough evidence to prove this matter beyond all reasonable doubt in the court of law?
What I am saying, that is the reason for which the commissioner is doing the review. He is now in or on the seat, and it is his responsibility to go to court, or any of his team. He will have to guide the process whilst in court. So that's why he is reviewing whatever pieces of evidence.
Because if the ACC has spent 1 year investigating this matter and it goes to court and it loses the matter, then the question the public will ask, what's the relevance of ACC? It's like having a dog at home, feeding it and it cannot catch a thief.
No, but that is not the case. When we always take matters to court as we are of the strongest conviction that will secure conviction. So it is not just for the sake of going to court to make a funfair or to play games, because we know we are playing with people's integrity. But the fact remains here is the entire fight against corruption has to be looked at from the perspective of complementarity. So ACC will play its own part, and then when you go to court the judiciary too has its own part to play. So we always want to ensure that justice
Well, I'm
is
sure if
served.
you have convincing
But it is not. Well, the point is, how do we, as I say, we are satisfied that the evidence before us meets the threshold for prosecution and thereafter conviction.
Okay.
But some other party would have to decide on it.
Okay.
So it is not really that of the ECC, but we may have been convinced. So that's why we always want the public to understand our own position.
He is
And we have
Patrick
people in-house who are capable of
the
doing it.
Deputy Outreach Public Education of the Anti-Corruption Commission. Well, let's go for text message. First one says, we want Mambu to know that the GTT report was published because the government thought it fit. It is time for it to be published and not because of civil society. This other one says, some members of civil society embezzle Ebola funds. How can you analyze the TR reports impartially? It's coming from a concerned citizen. Some aspect of the international reports have elements of truth, but however, the reports also have a number of false accusations. For example, the purported loan of Julius Spencer, the issue of JFK and Herbert Williams to Agrico and Henry Macaulay. A committee needs to be set aside to authenticate the report so as to eliminate cries of witch hunt. After all, this other one says, what we are saying as Sierra Leoneans, yes, it is fine, but as the new direction would have included civil society and other media to make it transparent. And again, the new direction should give reports about 300 days in office. Mr. Mambu, take notes, is coming from Kape Bande at Belia Park. This other one says, our government must also quickly look into all project biddings and award of contracts by former chairpersons and CAC of all local councils. Some local councils collected huge monies from governments, international non-governmental organizations and NGOs, but did not perform. It's coming from Titus in Koidu. After Titus's message, one says, please tell Mr. Mambu to be mindful what he wished for, because his elder brother, Charles Mambu, was one of those who chopped the Ebola money in Health for All coalition funds with impunity. This other one says, Podium, the past APC government set up a commission to investigate the SLPP government with a foreign judge. They never released a white paper because the leadership of APC collected several project money to build schools. They chop all money without putting single block. It's coming from Kai S. Banya. This other one says, it is not just the matter of going on media to give free speech, but it lies with the implementation of what they are saying. What has World Vision done to minimize or eradicate child prostitutes? Coming from Patrick from Tree Planting. After Patrick's message, we go to another one. Okay. This one said, human rights defenders guy in the studio is making political statements and very subjective allegations against the APC. Where was he when APC supporters were killed in the southeast after the 2018 election? The guy is unrealistic. Why is he not talking about the SLPP thugs? Area like Agata and Bravo is coming from Al Sadiq. This one says, Mr. Ba, tell Mr. Mambu whether the 90 days impact will only reflect in our life after the inquiry. For me, the days is more of starvation in our life. It's coming from Meme. Well, this other one says, sir, that is a very good move. It had happened in South Africa, South Korea, Peru, Nigeria, to name out a few. Why not Sierra Leone? We are strongly looking forward to seeing what the government will do about Ebola and Sierra Leone. This final one for now says, the government transition team is witch hunts. The GTT has damaged the images of confidentiality of the banks, which will take years to repair. The write-off of debts is normal banking operations, and the two banks have been damaged by the GTT reports. Coming from Abdul from KC. Well, keep sending your messages to number 0883733504. Mambu, you've had the text message. This issue of witch hunt and also another serious issue people have raised. Yesterday, the former Attorney General, Joseph Kamara, wrote a letter to the chairman of the committee, Professor Francis, wherein it was cited in one of the pages that in 2014, JFK was the Attorney General and also Herbert. And Herbert left as mayor before even 2012 elections. In 2014, he was not the mayor of Freetown. And in 2014 also, JFK was not the Attorney General. And these are the loopholes that people have started picking on the report. Don't you think a mistake or error like that has a tendency to make the report loses its credibility?
When a document is being handed over to you, the first thing you look for is the methodology used to get that document together. And for us civil society, the first instant when we want to assess the credibility of a report is the methodology used to arrive at the findings of the report. If you look at the methodology used to arrive at the findings of this report, they told you few things. A, they said they reviewed audit reports they met at the stations where they visited. Two, they said they met people. Mind you, when government changes, it is only the political heads that go. All the professional heads manning those institutions were there intact. They spoke to those professional heads that were manning, directing some of those institutions.
So are you insinuating that the committee was misinformed, was misled?
Well, that's what we are saying. You look at
Is that what you are insinuating?
Well, it might be. That's why we are saying. And when you also look at the recommendations.
But did they sift? Because I mean, even as an academic, when you are writing your paper, if you are writing a thesis, for instance, there's what they call a literature review. You just don't go and take all sorts of materials and read. You look for ones that are authentic.
Yeah, that's why.
So I guess when you go to an MDA, or sorry, a ministry, for instance, you just don't go and take any kind of documents.
That's why we are saying.
I just don't go to talk to everybody.
That's why
you
we are
need the people that you talk to. For instance, the permanent secretary, for instance.
Yeah, if you look at the report, it also have a route.
Well, that is a fundamental mistake.
Yes, I'm saying.
2014, JFK was not the attorney.
Yeah, that's why we are saying the report recommended two key things. Okay, that if those two things are put in place, could validate this report with immediate effect. A, the committee recommended for a special audit by the audit service. The audit service now can go more further than where this report did not go. That's one. Two, a special committee to be set up. You understand? And but as I speak to you now, I told you that any moment from now we are coming out with a press release to this report, citing some of our own concerns with this report, things we need actions to be taken upon it.
Are you also not picking holes on the report?
No, we are. That's why we are saying. I'm saying.
So what are the issues that you are concerned that you are challenging? Or as far as you are concerned, everything that the report said is right.
Some of the issues we are challenging in this report, you understand, has to do with two issues. For example, the contract on the toll gate was not included in this report. We are challenging that one because that was a campaign tool for this particular.
Why do you think the committee?
That is one. Secondly, we have investigated personally houses. You understand that former government officials built and they have placed those houses in the names of their family members. People that does not their GDP as an individual is not open even up to buying a car. They have mansions in their names. The report did not pick in onto those issues. So our press release.
So are you going to forward evidence of that to?
Yeah, we will with addresses. We are going to forward those to the ACC with addresses. All right. There was also an issue that has to do with the Ministry of Social Welfare. You understand? Remember the deputy minister, former deputy minister, and Sylvia Blade were on air, lambasting themselves, making allegations upon themselves. That issue was not captured in this report. So this is a concern that the report could have been more in depth in addressing some of those.
If your people ask you, I mean, the now Minister of Lands was a secretary to the committee.
Yes.
And he served under the Koroma administration as a Minister of Lands. And people said the name of Dana was not mentioned, neither the name of the current minister, Dennis Sand. Some people say he was a secretary. He is a secretary to the committee. He was a Minister of Lands. And also, even people are saying Musa Tarawali he was a Minister of Lands.
They are saying that not the court matter, but the man in it. This report has two key issues. You understand that we can use to validate it. A, the methodology used. B, the recommendations. The recommendation did not make this report absolute. It creates room for further inquiries. A, they said the report itself recommended that the audit service to do a special audit. Okay. It's not final. Okay. Two, the report itself said, let there be a committee.
I'll come to Daifan. What's the cost for this year is $5,000, right?
Yeah.
And is that not exorbitant?
Well,
because many times people say we pay higher when you compare to Guinea, Liberia, and Senegal, and other neighboring countries. $5,000 is no minimum in Sierra Leone.
Most times we don't really live.
That's a little over 40 million.
We don't live on rumors. Easy, and we are.
Are we paying lesser to Guinea and Liberia?
No, we cannot say we are paying lesser, but
so meaning it is true that we pay higher.
No, we might be at par. That's what I mean.
At par? Are we not paying higher?
No, we might be at par. If ever there is any difference, might not be significant, considering the
$5 is a significant difference, sir.
it is very significant. But when we talk about this particular duty, is the fifth pillar in Islam, and people really have to prepare themselves. We have been talking about weaknesses in the welfare package often given to people, and this year we have put in place a very perfect structure. We have an oversight desk in the Vice President office, the corresponding unit, in the Ministry of Social Welfare, and we have established, the National Secretariat, to attend to day-to-day arrangement of heart, activities. We have subcommittees in place, and we have put perfect processes in place, because these are issues all absent according to investigation done by anti-corruption. Now, for somebody to register, for heart on private ticket, you have to pay directly to the bank. According to the report, some people used to pay to individuals. So now we have really centralized, and we have been able to.
But even in the past committee, there was a bank account.
There was a bank account.
People were asked to pay into the bank account. No. So why did they pay to individuals?
No, some people, when we went to the provinces, these were some of the allegations. Some people did not go to Hajj last year because they pay directly to individuals. We did not take account of those people who reported. But that's what we are saying.
So what is the committee going to do for those people who paid last year but did not go? Well, their monies were collected.
In the first place, the investigation is on, and in fact, it has been said, the report has been sent to the authorities.
What is the Hajj committee going to do for them, sir?
The Hajj committee, all what we are going to do is that we have to make recommendations. Like, we got this report from the public that some people did not go to Hajj because and they pay, but they were denied to go to Hajj. So they have to provide evidence. Okay. If you say you pay and you did not go to Hajj, you did not perform the duty, you have to provide evidence, and the evidence should not be provided to us as Hajj committee, but to the authority.
Give us the account number again. Do you have it?
No, the account number I cannot give. It's difficult, and then also.
Well, you need to make it public. People should know the account number.
No, it's dangerous for me to tell it now because
why?
The account numbers are available at.
No, but you are now on television. If someone is watching and that person has an intention to, how can the person pay? If the person is watching now, you don't have the account number.
It's easy to, when you get to the Sierra Leone Commercial Bank, the account number, the manager, the bank officials will tell you. Okay. I will not want to tell anybody, and then there is any.
Okay, let me come to again. An interesting message was sent.
Yes, I want to thank Patrick for that question. Patrick, like I mentioned in my intro, we're doing a lot. I mentioned that we are even working with 750,000 children in Sierra Leone, which means that and I mentioned that our definition for violence does not only mean sexual violence, does not only mean penetration, but also have to do with labor, child labor. It has to do with all of those things that will take away the reality of a child living the fullness of life that God has given to that child. Which means that if people have ideas, they can come on board the campaign. It's for 5 years. So we're looking for more people to partner with us.
What are the strategies they are going to? Because NGOs are good at coming out with campaigns.
Ask me, I'm sure you understand that from 1996 to
maintain the vein.
World Vision have not come out with a campaign that we have not sustained. And this is just one of it. And our campaign is tied up to the Sustainable Development Goal, which states that by the year 2023, no child should be.
But then some of these campaigns can only be felt in big cities.
Well,
go to my niece or maybe my cousin in Koinadugu.
Probably.
And
on another day we'll have time to digress a bit more because I'm looking at the time that there won't be more time. But when I mention AP, I'm talking about local communities in the provinces. We operate in 4 districts. We're all over the country, but we operate in 4 major districts. And we are in every local community. And unlike other organizations, when World Vision gets to your AP, that's your area, our area program.
One short message again, it says, World Vision, are you planning to work with the judiciary to ensure stronger penalties for perpetrators coming from Dino?
Obviously, if you look at the list of invitations we've given out, you'll see that all of those people are captured. Ask me, what we want to do is to tell the perpetrator that we are not chasing you. You look at the 2 options that we've given you. 1 is to stop perpetrating the act. 2 is to see that the community frowns at you and you'll be behind bars if you continue to do what you're doing.
Thank you, Edward. The other message says Sierra Leoneans will not stop corruption if we don't start somewhere. This other one says, sir, that is a very good move. It's had happened. Okay, I think I had read that one. Okay, this one says, there was one new message. Mr. Mambu, be vigilant and don't listen to some of the critics around. They are unpatriotic. This other one said, the GTT would have been a very good move to tackle corruption in this nation if it was not done in haste to capture opposition members. This one says Moses Mambu, the final one says Moses Mambu. Advocacy was premeditated and it is an SLPP appendage. Why was the likes of Charles Mambu, Dennis Sandi, Musa Tarwali and Peter Baiku Conte we are not mentioned, who were implicated in several corruption issues? Is it because they are now SLPP and Southeasterners? The GTT report is to eliminate strong members of the APs coming from RCDKK. Okay, let me come to you, Mr. Sandi, as we are running up now. Have you had enough evidence in terms of this hard get? Are you looking forward to receiving more evidence?
Well, we are looking forward to getting more because, as I said, we are expanding. We are expanding this investigation to see that we get to the very bottom of everything.
And the Ebola and Sahel issue has going
definitely, yes, because indictments had also been made relating to investigations around Sarah Ruta. That also is being reviewed, and as you have said, the same for the Ebola or the special audit which was done by the Auditor General and the Commissioner.
So are you going to borrow a leaf from the GTT report?
Well, that itself is going to be very useful as well. Okay. The Commissioner is poised to also look at aspects of corruption related in that report, and then we'll move from there. And at this stage, we are going by our mandate, and we are not going to be restricted by.
So in the past, we are not going. We are not going.
No, we are going with our mandate, but there have been some uneasy issues. For instance, relating to ACC and the Parliament, but this time round, no way. The ACC Commissioner is determined to make sure that he takes it head on, without any restrictions from anybody.
Easier said.
No, well, I'll be rest assured.
Well, that's it. That's how we end today's edition of the Podium. He's Patrick Sandy from the Anti-Corruption Commission, Sheikh Daifan Masakwe from the Hajj Committee, Edward Gena from World Vision, and Moses Mambu from the Consortium of Civil Society on Service Delivery. On behalf of all of us and my producer, Sal Mataba, I've been here with Asmi Bati. We join you again on Monday. A blessed and lovely weekend. God bless you. Goodbye.